Disposition of the minutes from the March 16th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yep.
Any additions, corrections?
I didn't have anything, no.
No, me either.
Okay, then do we have a motion to accept the minutes as they're printed?
Motion to accept?
That was Gail.
Yes.
Elaine seconds.
Okay. Thank you. Motion passed. Librarians report. Carrie.
Okay. Yes, and let me pull up what I wanted to say. You probably all read the report that I emailed.
Yep.
So I'll just I'll tell you some highlights. So Helen retired on April 1st. Our first round of interviews for our new director will take place this Friday. We're interviewing 6 applicants, and we're pleased that all 6 seem to be very strong candidates. So we're looking forward to getting that first round done and seeing what happens. We have a panel of 5 people interviewing. So our library is still open Monday through Thursday, 8 till 8 p.m., Friday until 5 p.m. We're still offering curbside pickup and homebound delivery to everyone who's not comfortable coming into the building or can't come into the building. We have noticed that more people are starting to come into the building. There's some nights that feel like the old days, but then other nights are really slow, like tonight. Because it's so nice out, people are not here. But I think that, as vaccines become more prevalent, we are noticing that we're having more people in the building, which I'm happy about. Our next big decisions in the next phase will be when to open on Saturdays, when to start with in-person programs. We'll need some guidance from the health department. I know I have a meeting tomorrow with other department heads in the town, and I assume that the governor's new phase that was just announced yesterday, that will be starting in May. I assume that will be discussed, and we'll find out what impact that will have on us. We have a lot of questions about what we're allowed to do for programming, especially children's. They don't know what they should do for the summer, so hopefully we'll get some answers on that. Our virtual programs, as you probably saw for adults, have had a great response this past winter and early spring. We're going to wind them down a little bit because as the weather becomes warmer, people might not want to be on the computer as much. We noticed that last year as the weather became warmer. But so we'll continue to offer our take and make kits, our spice kits, which have been very popular. We do have a small outdoor knitting group that's been coming on Thursdays when it's nice out. We have an online dementia support caregiver support group. And we've been doing a lot of collaborations with the Kensington Garden Club and the Berlin Land Trust, so we'll continue with that. Children's programs, they're currently holding a book bingo spring reading challenge through the end of the month. Kids can pick up a bingo card in the library or download it and print from home. And if they complete 5 squares, they get little prizes and can be entered into a drawing for an Amazon gift card. The children's and teen departments are still doing many grab and go craft kits, which have been very popular, and all departments are planning our upcoming summer reading programs and figuring out how we're going to do it this year.
Yay. Can't wait for that.
Yeah. I think that's all I had.
Carrie, can I just ask again, who is on the committee to interview for the new director?
So this Friday, it will be 2 members from the library board, and it will be myself. It will be our bookkeeper. Sorry, did somebody have a question? No. And am I missing somebody? Oh, yes, and a director from another library, from Rocky Hill Library. So it will be 5 people on the panel, and
does the candidate typically sit through like one interview with all 5 people, or do they do 5 separate interviews?
Nope. There's questions that we'll just take turns answering, so they'll be in one setting. 2 people are coming, are going to be doing remotely, We offered that to everyone. You know, we offered in person, or if they felt more comfortable doing it remotely, they will be doing. So 2 people chose remotely. It's probably, my guess is because of distance from the library as opposed to being nervous about coming in. But that's just
Okay.
my guess.
That's wonderful that there were 6 candidates.
Yeah, 6 strong candidates.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
with a lot of experience. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we'll be lucky and one person will be a standout.
Right.
Be great. That would be great. Anything else, Carrie?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what the next round of interviews will be like. The second round, I know it will be at the very least our town manager and the head of HR who will be interviewing for the second round. I don't know if anybody else will be involved in that. And I don't know when that will be. I think we have to figure out how Friday goes and how many candidates to pass along to the next phase.
Okay.
How do you think a target date might be, like June 1st? At this point, I
I think
assume
that sounds, yeah, I think that sounds reasonable. Yeah, I think so.
time we do a second
Right.
interview and
And
then,
they have to give notice and,
Right.
you know,
but maybe for our June meeting.
yes.
That would be great. Anything else?
I don't think so. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Mm-mm. Once again, I liked reading all the questions that you got from various patrons. I always find that very interesting.
Yeah,
So thank you for including those.
you're welcome.
Chairman's report.
This is Karen Carey. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Do you mind if I have one question for Carrie? This is Karen.
Sure.
Carrie, are they going to print out the applicants' resumes so that they're available
Yes.
at the interviews? Yes.
Yes, they are. They actually already
Perfect.
printed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chairman's report. I have a thank you from Helen. My dear library board members, I can't thank you enough for Llama Llama, the books and gift card on the occasion of my retirement. They are the first gifts I've received for the baby, and we shall treasure them. Thank you also for your support over the past 10 years. I hope after COVID lets up, you and my successor can really make things happen. If you'd like to keep in touch, I'm on Facebook and my email is hmmalinka@gmail.com. So long for now, fondly, Helen. And it was a great card. A stack of
Does it have
books.
like a stack
Very
of books
cute.
on it?
Yeah, stack of books. It's really cute. It's really cute. I did deliver Lillian's gift to her yesterday, and she was very touched from the garden stone that we gave her. Her friend that works at the library I had spoken to, and she said she was making a memorial garden. So she seemed to be doing okay, but I can't imagine what she's going through to lose 2 parents. And she really appreciated our cards and the gift, thinking of her. So hopefully she'll be back next month. Hopefully things will turn around for her. I had to ask Carrie yesterday, when I was looking in my book, I did not have a copy of the bylaws in my book, and I'm not exactly sure why. And I called Sharon and she didn't either. And if anyone does not have the bylaws, they're on the library website. So I did print them off just to have in my book and to review them. And I thought I'd share that gem with everybody. So I don't know why mine were missing. We're thinking about meeting in person, and I wanted to kind of see how everybody felt. Maybe in May, we certainly could meet in person or do one more remote because it's going to be on Zoom. We could try a Zoom call, or we could meet in person. Helen had said before that in the big meeting room, that we could be socially distanced. I know the books are in there, but we could be socially distanced. Is that still?
The books are in the small room. The quarantining is going on in the small room. The big room is accessible. We use half of it for furniture storage and toy storage right now, but the front half is accessible. We use it for our passport appointments, so we could change things around. because it's half the room, it won't be quite as spaced out, just so you know. And we don't really know when that furniture is going to be back into the library. And we're going to allow people to be sitting longer periods. Like that's why we took all the furniture out. So it's possible. And it's just how comfortable everybody is.
Okay. Hi, Carol. How are you?
Hi, Carol. Can't hear you.
Mute.
Unmute, Carol.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had another meeting. It ran over and then I couldn't find the link to this meeting. It was sent out so long ago. I had to call the library. So
Oh, boy.
can you possibly send that link out to these meetings like the day before or the day of, because they get buried in my email. I
Sure,
get like
I can do that.
50, 60 emails a day. And it's like, how far back do I go?
Well, hopefully we won't have to do too many more of these.
I hope, yes.
But it sounds like maybe we should do May, if everyone's amenable, maybe we should do May with the Zoom, do a Zoom meeting. And then hopefully we'll have a new director for June. And I do think it would be great if we could have our first meeting in person with the director.
That would be
How does
nice.
everybody feel about that? Has everybody gotten their vaccines and are feeling
Yep.
comfortable?
Yeah.
I get my second one tomorrow.
Wonderful. So people would be amenable to that. We could target for June, providing the numbers still are going in the right direction. And okay. And then that'll give you a month in case, you know, you're able to move some of that furniture back into the children. I'd like to see when the director starts, I was wondering if we could maybe meet at 6 o'clock and kind of have a meet and greet, you know, 6:10, have a meet and greet. Maybe I can bring a tray of cookies or something, you know, to welcome our new director. So we can certainly send out an email if that's going to happen. But if people would be willing to come a little bit early, we'd like to put our best foot forward for our new director.
Would it be a meet and greet for like the first few minutes and then the meeting would start at 6:30? Because I don't get out of work until 6, and although I'm working remotely now, I mean to be at the library at 6, then I would be late for that.
I think people could come, you know, somewhere between 6:15,
Okay.
you know, so
Okay.
it's to say hello, introduce ourselves, and
Before the meeting started.
right.
Gotcha. Okay,
Then we-
perfect.
Okay, we'll keep you in touch about that. Let me see. So we're gonna target June for our first in-person meeting. Okay. With the advent of a new library director, I thought it was a good time to revisit our staff policies regarding the director. In the past, our director worked one night per week, which was a good opportunity to be available to patrons that might want to meet the director, speak with her, whatever, as not everyone is available during the day. And the director attends the Friends meeting the first Wednesday of the month and the second Wednesday, or in this case now, the second or the third Tuesday, she attends our board meeting. I've had people in the past ask me what night the director works or if she worked on a Saturday because they wanted to come in and introduce themselves or whatever. And I've had some board members tell me they've been asked that question too. So I thought it was a good time to see how the board feels and if we would like to see our new director work an additional 1 or 2 nights as we have done in the past. I always felt it was a positive and certainly good PR for the library. Even though our library has a large presence in the community and we've grown so much since we were, you know, Peck Memorial Library was a tiny little building with just books, and we've grown in leaps and bounds. So even though we're a large presence in the community, it's nice to not lose our small town friendliness and for people to know, like, you know, we all know people in circulation and on the reference desk because we're in there all the time. But I think that's important that the director also, everybody knows and is comfortable to be able to go up and speak with her and, you know, kind of, I guess you could call it like a evening office hours or just a PR, you know, where she'd be out maybe, you know, just wandering around saying hello to patrons. So I wanted to see, as we move forward, how the board felt about this, how we feel about the director working in the evening? And if so, how many evenings per month do you think would be appropriate?
Was this part of like the posting of the position where there were specific hours mentioned?
I checked and there's not specific hours mentioned.
Okay, so when you do the interviews, you need to have this information, this kind of information to present to the candidate, what the hours would be and the expectations. So we need to move on this if we're going to do it, because if the interviews are starting Friday, they
Right?
need to have this information.
Like,
It seemed like it was a good time.
in the ori-
Oh.
in the original
It seemed like it was a good
bylaws,
time.
I'm sorry. In the original bylaws, it said that the director would work one night a week. No hours, just would work one night a week.
But does the director's participation in the Friends of meeting and the board meeting constitute work, or is that supposed to be like above and beyond their normal 40-hour work week?
That was not explained in the original bylaws. It could have been, I don't know.
I mean,
But
granted, the meetings are not very long, right? They're only like an hour. And so if you're talking about having the director be available until 8 o'clock when the library closes, right? Like then you would think they would just come in later in the day for whatever, 5 to 8 would be. But if you're talking about them being in the library for more than one evening until 8 p.m., I think I think the point that Sharon raises is good, that if the bylaws at the moment don't say that, right, you probably have to, as Elaine indicated, indicate on the interviews, are you willing and able, right, to work a evening or two? And we could even say that the bylaws currently allow for one evening, but the board is considering whether or not we'd like to ask to do more, perhaps.
Well, Carrie, you may be able to clarify this. The Friends meeting and then our library board constituted the one night per week. So one was the first week, one.
Right, yeah.
And
Oh,
so those counted, but it was difficult because if our meeting starts at 6:30, at 6:15, you're coming into the room. Sometimes we have had meetings go till 7:45, 7:30, 7:45. So there wouldn't be a lot of time to use that as one of the nights. I think, Carrie, when we were talking yesterday, you said Sarah, I think it was, who was the director before Helen, that she used to even be at the circulation desk and check books out.
Reference desk. She worked at the reference desk, not a circulation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just felt that if we're having a new director come, this was a good time to bring the subject up and to see if we want to go back and having the director be a little more accessible to the patrons one night per week. Because, a lot of people work all day and can't get in. I assume the director usually leaves around 5:30 at the end of the day. So if someone works till 5, like Gail, you said you work till 6, sometimes people want to come in for whatever the reason, just they have questions or they'd like to meet the person, or so what does the board feel?
Yeah. Donna, I think especially while she's new, this is a good idea. So people have a chance to meet her. I mean, if we want to change it in the future, we could probably do that. But I think for right now, I think it's a good idea.
Or him even.
But
There is a male candidate. You're right.
Yes, there is.
There are a lot of hers going on here. So,
I was going to say that same thing, Chris.
Outnumbered, so we have to, do what we can.
There is a him. There is a him.
I just pulled up the policy. Sorry?
No, go ahead. I'll ask it. My question.
Oh, I just pulled up the wording of the policy. For scheduling and staffing policy, number 3 says all professional staff should work one evening per week. The library director works from 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the first 2 Wednesdays of each month for the board meeting and attends all other evening meetings after his normal work day.
And on the original policies, it said all professional staff work one evening per week. The library director does not normally, and assistant director normally do not work the same evening.
Oh,
So that was under personnel policies. So what, how does the?
I have a question.
Sure.
May I ask a question though? So
Yes.
the library director position, is that a salary position or an hourly position? Because a lot of it doesn't matter, like start and end time. Like I'm salary, I work, well, last week I did a 14-hour day. I only get paid for 8. So how does that work for this particular position?
it is salary.
It is salaried.
Salary. So, okay, it doesn't matter then.
Well, it probably doesn't matter from a pay standpoint, but I think it should be clear to any applicant, right, that there is the expectation that they would have to work a longer day on nights of meetings. And then if there's the decision made, right, that they should be expected to work one additional night, whether it's a week or month or something. And maybe, you know, maybe it would be beneficial, at least in the beginning, if, let's say, the new director starts June 1st, right? So maybe you say the first Thursday of the month for the next 3 months, the director's going to be there till closing, and we invite the public to come in and meet either her or him, right? And make it kind of like open house-ish and not associated with a night where there's a meeting, because you're right, Donna, if the meetings go from 6:30 to 7:30 or, you know, 6:15 to 7:45, it really doesn't give the general public much opportunity to meet him or her. So maybe that's a way to like get the public available to meet this new person, and then they can kind of go back to whatever the normal schedule would be like after that month, like, you know, meet and greet period.
I think the first and second weeks, those are the 2 meetings. So I think we'd be talking about the 3rd and the 4th week.
Okay. So I mean, I only said the first one, thinking that if he or she started in the beginning of June, right, the first week. But if it needed to wait until the 3rd week of the month to say, okay, but make it consistent, right? There could be something going to Citizen, right? It could say on the 3rd Thursday of the month for the next 3 months, come on and meet our new director. You know, here's him or her. You know, blah blah blah, and then people would know, you know, that there would be that consistency for the next couple months, rather than having the general public need to know, well, what day is the meeting? What day is the person going to be there late? You know, and so there would be just a little bit of consistency for the first couple of months.
Well, we would want it to be consistent. And I think if I recall, like back when Kathy, didn't they come in a little later on the days they worked at night?
Yes.
Yes. So they didn't, you know, they would come in if they were working, say, Thursday night, they would come in a couple hours later in the morning.
Yes.
Instead of coming at 8:30.
That makes sense.
11. So
Yeah.
they may end up putting a little bit more time, but they did get some time off in the morning. So we're not,
That's right. Yes.
to get them to work, you know, more hours or to get them to be in their office. It's really to be out on the floor and, you know, meet and greet people. And you're right, we could have certainly advertised, you know, meet our new director. And, you know, she has office hours, or she's available every, you know, 3rd Wednesday of the month, 3rd Tuesday, whatever it might be.
Yep.
So I think we could be flexible as far as what night.
I also think for the new director to work during the day it's a different climate working at night. You get a different population that comes in. For the director to be able to see the patrons that come in the evening are different than the patrons that come in during the day. So I think it'd be beneficial for him or her to learn that and kind of see what the pace of the library is, you know, days and nights. And just get a feel for how the flow of patrons. You know, I agree. I think for a few months, you know, it would be beneficial for us and for him or her to be around, you know, one night where there wasn't a meeting, you know, where they had the freedom to kind of float around, maybe help out at reference or help out at circulate. It just be, you know, get the feel of the lay of the land. So, you know, I'm in favor of that.
Now, do we want to
I know.
make it be something that maybe we don't want to say to work 2 nights during the month, 2 additional nights, but just 1 month, 1 week, 1/3 night, during the month. So, you know, I can understand, maybe instead of having them do two, doing just one, maybe that would work. What do you think, Carrie?
Yeah, I think one night a month. So as far as the bringing this up in the interviews, I just would have to check with HR. They gave us a set of questions to ask, and we need to ask the same exact questions to each candidate to be fair. So if we wanted to add in something about the hours, and maybe that's something they would cover more in the second interview, I would just want to ask her how we should go about that. Because I know they're, for the town interviews where they're pretty strict about asking what is exactly written the same to everyone. So.
Oh, I thank you for bringing that to our attention. Like, what if a candidate asks a question that another candidate doesn't ask, right?
Oh, no, that's okay. That's
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, may I just inject this? As a library board, do we want to go into this meeting expecting that the director would be available for at least one night a week? I mean, and they would come in later, maybe work the same hours. But
On the day,
as a library board, do we want to say, this is what we want? I would say, this would you not? Library board, what do we want them to do?
right. I
Part
think we
of their
need to decide, and
job.
then I guess Carrie would run it past HR that the library board was interested to
understand
go
this
back
too.
to having.
A lot of people have said to me that they really love seeing, people, seeing the director. Somebody said to me, who is the director? They had no idea. They know who you work here, but they didn't know who the director was. And I think it's public relations.
Yeah, I agree.
And so any candidate who is, considering taking a position here would have to know that they would be working 2 nights anyways, the first 2 weeks. Maybe we just want to have one additional night, not 2, but have one additional night. Personally, I think that it's a great idea. I think that it's positive, and I think it would develop over time, I'm sure, into what they might do.
I'd be happy to talk with HR to find out when we should mention that to candidates and if we should add it on to the first round or the second round. So I can do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So should we take a vote on it so that you can go and say that we voted last night, that we thought we would like to reinstitute that? And so we need to vote if we're all interested to do that, but then also, is one night acceptable to everyone?
I think one additional night is plenty as far as I'm concerned, but it would not be a night that there was a meeting. It would be that the person would be available, like the whole hours, as you said earlier, Donna, like kind of floating.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it would be a set, and I think that we certainly, if we hired someone and they know that the first 2 Wednesdays, we'll say, of the month they have meetings, would they have their choice of whatever night it would be?
Yeah, I think we should offer that flexibility, right? Because what if the person, has their own commitments, for their own family, if they have children, and there's a PTO meeting, right? Or a band club meeting or something like that. I mean, there's got to be some level of flexibility on our part.
But just so long as it would be consistent, a third night of their choice that would be consistent. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yep.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion.
Before you do, may I ask a question?
Sure.
You make a motion?
Sure.
Carrie, does the library director sign a contract?
I believe so. I'm sorry, I don't know that for sure, but I believe so.
So I guess my thought is, before we do something that we may not be able to enact, should we follow up to see what the contract says in terms of hours? Because I also wonder, so you give them a little leeway. They work 2 evenings per month because of required meetings and as needed. You could put something in like that so that it wouldn't possibly, it could end up being four or 5 as needed, gives you more flexibility. But I also think we have to look at the contract.
I can definitely talk to HR about that.
But if we are going to do this, we'll need to adjust our staff policy so that it's in the record. So should we take a vote on it that we as a board would like to see the new director work 1 additional evening per month?
Yep.
Then Carrie will talk to HR, and then we could have this ready for the May meeting, so it would be voted on. Would that be?
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
Well, okay. So could someone make a motion that we proceed with this concept? Carrie will check with HR, and then we could vote on it next month. We would have the appropriate paperwork ready.
I'll make a motion that we proceed with this idea of having the director work 1 extra day a month to meet the public. And, once Carrie checks with HR to see if it's okay, and then have it written into their contract, and also change our policy to read accordingly. That's a long motion.
Marlo will make it sound perfect.
Yes, she will.
Marlo will make it sound perfect. Well, I think the time to do it is now, because once we hire someone, it's after the fact.
right.
Right. Then they can argue with us.
I assume contracts, they make changes when they do contracts. I would assume this would be the time to do it. So
Right.
we're kind of just in the nick of time.
Right.
Would someone second that motion, please?
I'll second. That's Elaine.
Elaine, thank you. And we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. That is all that I have for chairman. Subcommittee, policy and personnel. Do we have any report?
Nothing other than what we've been talking about this whole time. So
Okay. Finance and Foundation Committee?
I have nothing. Gail, what about you? Nothing, anything?
I don't either, no. Oh, I don't know whether or not this would be a question related to this or not. I think I either read in the newspaper that we were going to get rid of having fines. Is that true, Carrie?
That is the goal. Yes.
Is the fine something that was like a moneymaker? Like, why are we getting rid of them?
Definitely not a moneymaker. Very low money came in for fines. And that money goes to the general fund for the town anyway, not for the library.
Oh.
There have been many studies, and actually our library consortium emailed us a few months ago about a very thorough, interesting study about fines in libraries and how it prohibits children. It prohibits people who are hurting for money to come into the library for fear of having to pay these fines that they don't have money for. And getting rid of fines really was a good thing to do for community relations, and it didn't bring in much money in the first place, and it helped people feel more comfortable using the library. I'd be happy to forward that study to you. We got rid of fines for children a while ago now, a couple of years maybe. What we do is, it doesn't mean that people never have to bring their books back, and they have found that people still bring their books back on time. They're very concerned about due dates and when they have to bring their things back. But if somebody does have something out for a period of time, when we shorten this as far as when they receive a bill. And the bills are kind of scary to people, and we'll generally get them to bring the book back or the item back pretty
Okay.
quickly at that point. So we used to, with fines, the bill wouldn't go out for quite a while, and we've shortened that time so that they will get this reminder of a bill to come in and return that item or have to pay for it. So it's the trend that's going on throughout the country for public libraries, and there's been a lot of positive feedback about it throughout the country.
So it's not the intent that the people could just keep the book for as long as they want. I'm thinking of, like people that they have things on the wait list, right? And so you wait, like, new books that are coming out. I waited 2 months for 4 Winds, right? And so what if I kept it and, I didn't return it on time, and there's, 50 people still waiting for the book, and there's no repercussions to me. So is there a thought that if someone is a habitual return books late, that they would have a mark next to their name and wouldn't be allowed to borrow books? I mean, I don't return books late, right? But
yeah. We have to say that we have not noticed that been a problem. We really haven't been charging fines since the pandemic started, just because at first we had asked everybody just to keep their books at home, and then so we haven't been doing it for a while, and they get the overdue notices. They're going to get the emails reminding them that it's coming due.
Okay.
They will and then they get this bill for this item. So we really, and other libraries who have done this as well, have not noticed that it's been a problem and it's affected wait lists or anything like that.
Okay. If you're willing to share it, I would like to read that study. If you could email it to me, that would be great. I'd be kind of interesting, because when I saw that, I was a little surprised.
Yes, I'm making a note to do that.
Okay. I'm sorry if I disrupted the order, what we were supposed to go. I should have asked that question when Carrie had her chairman's report.
It's okay.
Not a problem. Outreach and Advocacy Committee. Do we have any?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. And Seed Library, this is your time of year.
Well, I've done a little bit, but I've had a lot of help over at the library this year. Carrie had got some extra seeds. Irene has been helping package some stuff. So I'm not sure. Last I heard, it sounded like a lot of seeds were going out. Is that still the case?
Yes. We have a lot of seeds still to go, but people have been interested in coming in for them. It's a good year for seeds.
Yep. Plus, Andrea has done an amazing job giving every package an individual number as well. And so quite a lot of effort's been put into it over there.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. I don't have any communications. Is there any old business? I don't have any old business. Do you, Carrie?
No, I think new business.
Okay. Then we're on to new business.
Okay. Hold on.
There being no additional new business, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Carol Wells, and a second.
Second,
I'll
is
second.
Karen Kegley.
Karen.
So
So
under
moved.
new business, am I just putting none?
Carrie, I guess you'll let everyone know how we fare on Friday.
Yes.
So, well, we won't know actually until the second interview, but
Right.
we may have, hopefully,
We have an idea, or at least hopefully narrowed it down at that point.
right?
Yes.
Is the taking of applications closed so that the 6 people are the limit? Okay.
Yes. Yep. It's been closed since I think March 30th.
I knew it was scheduled to close, but I didn't know whether, if, let's say, applications hadn't received by then, whether maybe it got extended and hadn't closed yet or something.
Nope. It was closed, completely closed at that point.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
we
Wonderful.
narrowed it down to 6.
Gotcha.
Well, thank you, everyone. And Carrie, you'll let us know what HR says.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Gail, I'll forward that fine thing to everyone. So
Okay.
everybody has that.
No big rush for it, Carrie. I mean, whenever you can find it is fine.
Okay, great.
Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Have a
Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.